You know that feeling when you're watching a movie and all of a sudden the main character turns, looks right at you, and starts talking? Or maybe you're reading a book and the narrator just admits they're making things up as they go. Well, today we're diving headfirst into that weird, wonderful world. We're talking about metafiction. What happens when stories wake up and realize what they are?
So, let's start with this idea that fiction has a kind of hidden self-awareness. It's a technique you've absolutely seen before, even if you didn't have a name for it. Think of it like a story's secret superpower.
And really, it's as simple as that. This is the core idea we're going to unpack today. It's a story that has achieved self-awareness. It's a movie or a book or even a video game that basically winks at you, the audience, and says, hey, you and I both know this isn't real, right?
I mean, think about it. When Deadpool starts complaining about the movie's budget, he's not talking to the other characters, he's talking to us. When Fleabag gives you that look, she's making you her personal confidant. And poor, sweet Grover, he's literally begging you, the reader, with the power to turn the page, to stop. They're all shattering the illusion of their own world.
And that question, that's the real gateway here. Because when a character wakes up, it's more than just a funny gimmick. It could be absolutely terrifying, it could be incredibly empowering, and it completely changes the game for how we experience a story.
Okay, so let's get a little more formal. What is this thing really? Where did the idea come from, and how did it become such a go-to tool for so many creators?
All right, that sounds a little academic, I know. But basically, it just means the story intentionally reminds you that it's a story. And here's the important part. It does this for a reason. The whole point is to get us to think about that blurry line between the world on the screen and the world we're sitting in.
And you might think this is a pretty modern invention, right? But while the actual term metafiction was only coined back in 1970, storytellers have been playing this game for centuries. I mean, we're talking all the way back to Don Quixote in the 1600s. It's an old trick that just keeps finding new life.
So how do creators actually pull this off? What are the tools they use to crack open the reality of their own stories? Let's get into the toolkit.
First up is the big one, the one everyone knows. Breaking the fourth wall. The name comes from theater, where a stage has 3 physical walls. That fourth wall is the invisible one between the stage and the audience. And to break it, well, that's to acknowledge we're out here watching.
And we see this everywhere. It's Deadpool talking about superhero landings, it's Fleabag sharing a secret glance, it's even characters like She-Hulk in the comics literally arguing with her own writers. By talking to us, they make us part of the story. We're not just watching anymore, we're in on it.
Okay, the next tool is even wilder. This is when the author themselves decides to step into the story. And I don't just mean a quick cameo. I mean they become a character in the world they built.
I mean, can you imagine? In Slaughterhouse-Five, Kurt Vonnegut just shows up and interacts with his own characters. It completely messes with your head because suddenly the all-powerful author is just another person in the room. It makes you ask, wait, who's actually in control of this story?
And that leads us to maybe the most fascinating part of all of this. What happens when the characters themselves wake up? What kind of power do they get when they realize they're fictional? Just listen to that. That's a quote from the video game character Max Payne at the exact moment he realizes he's being controlled by you, the player. For him, this awareness isn't freedom. It's the ultimate nightmare. He's woken up only to discover he's a puppet on a string.
But it's not always a horror story. For some characters, waking up is a source of incredible power. Take Monica from the game Doki Doki Literature Club. When she figures out she's in a dating sim, she doesn't just despair. She learns how to hack the game's code. She literally starts deleting her competition to rewrite the story and get what she wants. She becomes the author.
And then there's this line from Toni Morrison's Jazz, which is just on another level. The narrator of the book tells you to look down at your own hands, holding the physical book you're reading. In that single moment, the entire distance between you and the story just evaporates. It's breathtaking.
And that, right there, is what this is all about. Metafiction isn't just a collection of clever tricks. It's a fundamental shift in the relationship between a story and its audience.
See, a normal story wants you to get lost in it. It wants you to completely suspend your disbelief and forget about the outside world. But metafiction does the exact opposite. It constantly pokes you and says, hey, remember me? I'm a story. Now let's think about how I work.
So you go from being this passive reader, just along for the ride, to an active participant. You're not just accepting the reality you're given, you're being asked to question its rules. You become a co-creator, someone who is actively involved in making the meaning of the story.
So why does any of this matter outside of books and movies?
Well, here's the kicker. By showing us how a story is built, how it's a system with rules that can be understood and even changed, metafiction trains us to look at our own world the same way. It makes us wonder about the other stories we live inside.
And that's the final mind-bending question it leaves us with. If a story is just a constructed reality, what does that say about our reality? By teaching us to see the strings on the puppets in a story, metafiction encourages us to look for the strings in our own world. And it suggests that maybe, just maybe, if we can see those strings, we can learn how to rewrite our own stories too.